You can start now. There's water signals and light, you can start.
Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am, please start.
Yeah, okay. From creating startups to igniting revolutions, young people have been toppling the old structures and processes that govern our world. Just imagine what solutions might be found if young people are given the space and encouragement to participate and lead. So, today's topic is youth empowerment. So, I would like to invite our first speaker, Mrs. Miss Rania Lampau. Can we have you on the stage, ma'am? Please. We welcome you all.
Greetings from Greece to all of you. It's a great pleasure and an honor to be invited in this great event to share my thoughts on youth empowerment. It's a very interesting topic.
Yes.
I would like to congratulate Idym for all the amazing work they're doing every day, and also would like to thank Dr. Ravi Shankar for his kind invitation. So yes, youth are the future of the countries, and they represent it at every level. The role of youth in nation building is more important than we might think, because they are the future leaders, and of course they are energetic, they're enthusiastic, and this zeal and enthusiasm must be channelized properly to help nations and countries prosper and flourish. They're always willing to learn and act on it, as well as to achieve their goals. So, in other words, their intelligence and their work will take society on the pathway of success, because youth are the building blocks of the society. They can bring social reform and improvement, and of course, they have the power to build a nation. So we must give them opportunity. And you know that youth are still, unfortunately, an underutilized force in tackling, for instance, global problems such as global poverty, inequality. Um, so their energy, passion, courage to challenge the status quo are needed to identify and address these complex issues, and their insights are worthy of attention and investment. That's why we say that youth can play a significant role in the implementation, monitoring, and review of UN 2030 agenda, as well as holding governments accountable. So, with commitment and adequate resources, young people have the potential to make the most effective transformation of the world into a better place for all. They play a vital role of the sustainability processes. They can contribute to achieving sustainable development goals, including all these improving health, education, make cities more sustainable, combating climate change, ending poverty, hunger, and this young generation simply needs to renew, to refresh, and maintain the current status of the society. Because this way, when the youth contributes his ideas and energy to resolve the social issues, he becomes a capable leader and also can make a difference in the lives of others. So we could say that youth are the real owners of the agenda, and also so they should have the opportunity to contribute in shaping global action and molding the mindset change. And that's why they are labeled as torchbearers of the Sustainable Development Agenda. So engaging young people in development programs has a very interesting impact in the personal development, their empowerment, their ability to connect with more marginalized people in the community. So we need the youth development programs focusing on youth empowerment and leadership, shift which often requires to adopt new roles and practices. Youth development, what is youth development? Is this process that prepares a young person to meet the challenges of adolescence and adulthood and achieve his or her potential. So youth development is promoted through activities and experiences that help youth develop social, ethical, emotional, physical, and cognitive competencies. What happens during the COVID pandemic? You know how COVID pandemic has affected youth employment and how imperative it is to create a new framework now, for instance, of technical and vocational education and training that can foster entrepreneurial skills or competitiveness, research, innovation, which is a central aspect of successful employment social policy. So according to the National Labor Organization, the pandemic had a devastating and disproportionate impact on youth employment. And the most recent figures show that young people face major obstacles in continuing training and education. So moving between jobs and entering the labor market. So this crisis has severely affected labor markets around the world, hurting young people more than other age groups. Globally, youth employment fell by 9%. And this, of course, at the same time, we have the acceleration of the digital transition with telework, with distance learning. So this pandemic has accentuated the digital skills gap that already existed. And new inequalities are emerging as many young people do not have the required level of digital skills, or they are in workplaces or schools that are lagging behind in digitalization. This point we can mention also due to a lack of resources, how rural training centers usually offer a limited variety of training courses at the basic competency level, frequently leading to labor market saturation or low wages. I think the most important hidden impact of the pandemic is the well-being crisis among young people. All surveys talk about how young people suffer from serious mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, and also other disorders. So what is happening here, for instance, in Europe, after this crisis, the European Union has designated 2022 as the European Year of Youth. And this focuses on the importance of youth to build a better future. This could be greener, more inclusive, and digital, with plenty of opportunities to learn, to share their vision, to meet people and engage in activities all over in Europe. So this European Year of Youth is the moment to move forward with confidence and hope in a post-pandemic perspective. And this European Youth has four main objectives: to highlight how the green and digital transformations offer opportunities for young people, how to promote opportunities available to them, how to bring a youth perspective to the European Union's policies, and how to help young people to become active and engaged citizens. So within this framework, during COVID pandemic, European Commission put forward an ambitious agenda to guide recovery efforts in the fields of employment and social policy in order to help youth. So the focus is on youth skills and what we call technical and vocational education, because I believe that technical and vocational education is a key element of lifelong learning systems, equipping people with knowledge, with know-how, with skills and competencies required in particular occupations or more broadly in the labor market. So vocational education and training corresponds to the needs of the economy, is now more than ever a driver for innovation and growth, and prepares for the digital and green transitions and occupations in high demand. So we need flexible, actually, pathways to put place between initial and continuing vocational education and training. Also, I'm going to mention that during the COVID pandemic, the European Union launched the Commission Communication, the European Skills Agenda for Sustainable Competitiveness, Social Fairness and Resilience. And this communication puts forward 12 European Union actions to support the partnerships for skills, for upskilling and reskilling, and empowering lifelong learning. A major of this communication is a Pact for Skills also, which was launched in November 2020 during the European Vocational Skills Week. And this pact aims to mobilize various stakeholders to upskill and reskill people of working age through partnership. We need to ensure that education, especially vocational education training, is agile. In that point, that it adapts swiftly to labor market needs and provides quality learning opportunities for young people and adults alike. We need urgent reforms and a strong focus on the increased flexibility of training and education, reinforced opportunities for work-based learning, and apprenticeships also very important, and improved quality assurance. So this program, we need programs that could offer a balanced mix of vocational, including technical skills, well aligned to economic cycles, to evolving jobs, working methods, and key competencies, including software basic, solid basic skills, digital, transversal, green, and other life skills, which provide the strong foundations for resilience, lifelong learning, lifelong employability, social inclusion, active citizenship, and personal development. This should be delivered through an appropriate mix of open, digital, and participative learning environments. Equipment, of course, technology, versatile pedagogies, and tools. Of course, these programs should be regularly updated, should be relevant, building on skills, intelligence, and providers also should be updated in line with national context, with an appropriate degree of autonomy, flexibility, and support in order to meet the changing needs and changing skills. Should be we need programs for youth that should be learner-centered to offer access to face-to-face and digital or blended learning, flexible and modular pathways based on the recognition of the outcomes of non-formal and informal learning, and open up career and learning progression. We can mention the role of internationalization there here, because the nationalization strategies support a strategic approach to the national cooperation in vocational education. And such strategies promote successful national practices worldwide, and also cooperation between different countries, which can be implemented, for instance, by different means such as mobility of learners and teachers, and participation also in joint preparation in the national skills competitions. So we need opportunities for learning mobility of learners, including virtual mobility, long duration mobility, mobility to other countries also, facilitated by relevant policies. And we need also clear and user-friendly information on learning and career opportunities. We need to equip youth with practical skills and tools to practice innovation. Innovation is the key word here. And we all know that, unfortunately, for most youth around the world, education is not easily accessible. And even when it is secure, does not guarantee access to quality employment opportunities. So critical thinking and problem framing skills are necessary for workforce readiness, because they enable youth to reimagine challenges as opportunities in day-to-day life. So we need to increase the availability of training where youth can access and gain experience with what we call human-centered design tools that could help them, mobilize them to address development and sustainability challenges, encourage social entrepreneurship. I will talk about entrepreneurship, which is very important, as a viable form of self-employment. Unfortunately, still, the majority of existing programs for youth focus only on hard skills, such as organizational management, or social media marketing, or social entrepreneurship, etc. We need at the same time soft skills that could include communication skills, empathy, managing difficult conversation, interpersonal conflict, etc. What happens in Greece, here in my country, we have the European Youth Strategy is the framework for 2019 until 2027 is the goal. And according to this framework, youth cooperation should make the most of youth policies potential. So it fosters youth participation, democratic life, and also supports social and civic engagement, and aims to ensure that all young people have the necessary resources to take part in society. So this strategy focuses on three core areas of action around three words: engage, connect, and empower. and at the same time work on the implementation across different sectors. This national strategy, I think the national strategy is the most essential and the most valuable tool to deal with all these challenges of nowadays. And of course, it contributes to the proper use and exploitation of all the opportunities that we can offer to youth. And this national strategy for the empowerment of young people has come at the right moment in order to fill here in Greece a gap of decades and create a framework for the policies, the programs, and the services for youth are grown up, are evaluated and updated continuously with the aim of improving all aspects of young people's daily social life. This strategy and framework is structured around specific objectives: how to ensure equality for young people, equal rights, equal opportunities, equal treatment, respect of their diversity, how to empower young people and enhance their autonomy, how to encourage individual and social responsibility, how to promote young people's active participation in decision-making processes, how to promote social cohesion and solidarity, how to collaborate and promote mutual commitment among all actors supporting young people. And also we have documentation and scientific research. Research is very important for youth. And also transparency. So during this development of the strategy, it became clear that we are in need of a balanced approach to addressing issues affecting young people in Greece. And to be effective, we need to ensure a balance between stakeholder support, public administration support, private institutions, youth opportunities. We need to ensure an alignment of planning with a common set of objectives and outcomes for youth. We need active participation of young people in decisions affecting their lives. The establishment of benchmarks to ensure that the government continues to make progress on the youth empowerment strategy objectives, and also the adoption of methods for monitoring and measuring results at all levels. So it is crucial to engage young people in these activities, to empower them, to be open-minded, to be tolerant, to be active citizenship. And promoting the autonomy and independence of young people is directly, of course, linked to access to fundamental social and economic rights, which is a prerequisite for the full social inclusion of young people. And in this context, alleviating inequalities among young people and their social inclusion are, I forgot to say, one of the main pillars of the European Union policy. European Union defines social inclusion as the process that ensures the young people at risk of poverty, social exclusion are given opportunities and resources to fully participate in economic, social, and cultural life and to enjoy a decent standard of living and well-being. Social inclusion also means that vulnerable groups, individuals have greater opportunities to participate in decision-making processes on issues affecting their lives later. I can also mention some interesting initiatives. We have also an initiative in Europe, which is called the Discover European Union. It's an initiative that gives young people the opportunity to discover Europe through learning experiences. Their youth had the opportunity to explore the diversity of Europe, to learn about the European cultural heritage and history. Another example is the European Solidarity Corps Fund, which finances volunteering, including humanitarian aid and solidarity projects. Why? Because the European Union wants to increase awareness of the benefits of volunteering activities through information, through guidance and outreach activities, focusing specifically on young people with fewer opportunities. Unfortunately, here in Greece, we do not have very well developed this culture of volunteerism and service learning. I was appointed here in Greece very recently as the national ambassador, the government program of volunteerism education at the Academy Help Hellas. And our role is how to promote volunteerism in the curriculum, school curriculum, how to help young people with special education needs, and how to create networks of volunteers, Greek volunteers all around the world who could help each other and promote the message of volunteerism through a small country like Greece. And it's very pioneering here in Greece. Why? Because it's the first time that we will have certified volunteers that will be registered and will be officially entitled as volunteers. Because service learning is something very important, and these values should be inculcated to children at an early age, if it's possible in preschool age. It's important that, yes.
Yeah, actually, the way you have said the main thing which was highlighted over here, which I would like to even highlight over here to all the audience over here, is you said connecting the people, right? Actually, and that is the best way to empower today's youth. You said that education is the best way to connect, and you spoke about the innovations of education also. Innovations in education, how to inculcate that in our education, in our policy, education policy, so that it reaches the new citizens to empower themselves. You have shown us the brightest way today. In fact, I would like to really appreciate you for the 3 words which you said, empowering the people. But before that, you engage them, connect with them, and then empower them. That was the most highlighting part, actually. Really, thank you. Thank you so much, actually. Thank you so much. Can we have new speaker, Dr. Anjum Qureshi? Before I introduce her on the stage, as rightly said by Rania, leadership is about empathy. It is about having the ability to relate to and connect with people for the purpose of inspiring and empowering their lives. The main part which Rania said right now was really, this was the one thing which she highlighted to all of us. So let's see what Dr. Qureshi has to say to us for the next point.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. So as per today's topic, youth empowerment, Simber, I'm going to share about my journey when I worked in the Indian villages, when I was associated with Nehru Yuva Kendra. And Yuva Kendra here, it means the youth centers. And I was associated with UNICEF. And just I would like to just bring out some of my journey when I worked with this. Now, coming to, yes, firstly, starting with what do we mean by youth? Right now, it is nothing but a transition from dependence of childhood to adulthood, and where the youth, they start feeling about the independence and awareness, and they start realizing about the interdependence as members of a community. Now, according to the definition of United Nations, it says that the 15 to 24 years is considered as the youth, but it is not actually common in all the countries, because in India, somewhere we can consider the age group of 15 to 29 as youth. Now, according to the Youth in India 2022 report, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, it says that there are 371.4 million youth in 2021. And so we can say India is experiencing a youth bulge, which means we are having more number of children and youth as expected as compared to the elderly people. But what I would like to bring out over here is, among the total number of youth population in India, the 67 to 68% still lives in the villages. They belong to the rural parts of the our country. And if we see the male to female ratio, 52% are males and 48% are females. So what is the hope, what are the hopes that the youth are having? Like, they want that there should be a world that is free of poverty, free of the unemployment. And they want that there should be a world that is free of discrimination on the grounds of race, color, language, and gender. They want a world that is full of creative challenges and opportunities to conquer them. So now, coming to the key areas of concern for the youth, and as I told, I am speaking especially with respect to the youth in the rural parts of our country. So here, yes, education. Now, education, the primary education has reached everywhere. Higher education is there, but the rural parts still lack the access to higher education, and especially the access to, we can say, to the professional courses. Because they lack access to professional courses, mainly like engineering and medical. And somewhere they have this access, but they don't have the proper knowledge to how to go about it. One of the biggest problem that they are facing is this kind of professional courses, this good colleges, and somewhere they think they are not, these courses are affordable for them, because most of the colleges, they have several types of schemes, the schemes that have been given by the government, like the various types of scholarship schemes. And along with that, the colleges have like some kind of CSR funds and all, so where they can actually accommodate this youth. But somewhere this youth require an awareness over this, that yes, there are a number of opportunities by which they can go and offer such courses. And the next thing is they need awareness about the skill-based education. And when I come to this, yes, they need skill-based education there. But more than that, a very big problem that I have observed being in a college is that the youth coming from these rural areas, they lack communication skills, soft skills somewhere. So when they come to the college, somewhere we have to actually work more on this. Along with the classes, we have to engage a many number of periods, or many number of extra classes, we can say we have to engage, where we have to train them on the communication skills. Because like I'm working in an engineering college, and engineering college environments in the final year, they have to go for placements, they have to go for IT companies, and mainly they have to improve their English communication skills, not just communication skills, because these are the students where, yes, they may be very good in Marathi, they will be very good in Hindi, but somewhere they lack this confidence in speaking English. So this is somewhere like we are working a lot, a number of times. Now, the second one, after the education, the other thing that the youth is concerned today is employment. Earlier, if we can say nearly a decade ago, if we wanted to compare employment among the youth, we had to compare the employment ratio between the illiterate youth and the educated youth. But now, because most of the youths are educated, somewhere the problem is that after they go back to their villages, they are not ready to take up the main occupation. Like in the main occupation in villages is still farming, but because they think they are educated, so they don't want to go for farming. But it is not that. It is not that they can't go for practicing agriculture, because they can, if they help their parents in agriculture, and that I think that they can be they can be adopting new techniques of farming. They can be using even technologies like the Internet of Things. So where if we are using Internet of Things, we can be using a technology where we can water the crops when and as it is required. It has some kind of moisture sensors by which, like, once a soil reaches the moisture level, so the tube well can be closed. So there are many number of things they can be using a technology. But since the youth are unemployed in the rural areas, because after gaining education, they don't want to go for agriculture. They think that they want only white collar jobs. They want they think of like they want to work in some big companies. They want to work in some highly reputed companies, and due to that, they don't actually look after the adopting the main occupation or go for entrepreneurship in the villages. Now, the third area of concern, obviously, health. Because in the rural areas, now with awareness and due to the efforts of the government, there are primary health centers or sub-centers in some of the villages. But still, lack of health facilities can be said, because the health facilities in these areas are somewhere sufficient to cure your viral infection or stomach infections. But if there are any more problems, we have to rush to the nearby cities, we can say. In fact, even in our area, even in Chandrapur, we can say we have to travel at least 3 hours from here to Nagpur if there is if someone is there which who has some kind of emergency. So this health facilities needs to be developed. In the health, again, I come to another point that yes, we have tried to come over the malnourishment rate, but still, because the health facilities are not proper over here, so the youth, in fact, we can say, and when we talk about youth, as I talked about 15 to 29 years, so there is somewhere the women get married and they are not having access to the health facilities somewhere. So, like we talked that, okay, we want to live in a country where we'll be having more number of gold medals in the Olympics, but somewhere we need to actually provide health facilities to the people in the rural areas also. And now, when we actually cover those three things, first, the first concern, that is the education. The second is the employment and or the entrepreneurship opportunities. The third, health, and the fourth, which is the greatest concern for the youth, is corruption. Because they are getting, because if you talk about education, right from the admissions from nursery to the higher level education, or from even for jobs, there is a lot of corruption which has actually creeped in the country. So because of that, the deserving youths, either they are not able to get admission in the colleges where they want to, or somewhere even for job, they are not actually able to get the jobs which they deserve. And yes, coming to the youth development schemes and the programs that have been taken by the government, that many of you will be knowing, there is a national youth policy which has been given by the government, and now earlier it was in 2014, and now it has been again been amended, and the national youth policy actually it actually envisages that it will be fulfilling the sustainable development goals, because the 12 out of the 17 sustainable goals, and they are directly or indirectly related to youth. And the national youth policy again stresses on the 5 important points for youth. First is education, second is employment or entrepreneurship, third is health, fourth is fitness and sports, and fifth is social justice. So the national youth policy that we are having, again, it stresses on these 5 points. And again, because it has education as the very first point, so here it actually works in synchronization with the national education policy also. Now, for the youth, if we see, yes, in colleges, that for the development of youth, there is a national service scheme which is called as NSS. So the students are allowed to become a member of the NSS, and by which they implement various types of activities in NSS. And the most important youth organization that is working all over India is Nehru Yuva Kendra, that started in 1972. Yes, it was started in 1972, and it is an autonomous body which comes under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and it is the largest youth organization that has been working in India, because this is a center which actually concentrates on the rural youth. It provides opportunities for the rural youth to develop themselves. They organize sports meet, they organize some kind of convention, some kind of competition, some kind of awareness programs, values. Actually, round the year, they keep on organizing activities for the youth. Besides that, they also have district youth conventions and state level youth conventions and national level youth convention, where this youth from all the parts of the country actually get a chance to gather together and exchange their ideas and learn from each other. So the most beautiful part, because somewhere I have been, as I told in this while just starting with my talk, that yes, I have been associated with Nehru Yuva Kendra because our NGO was registered with it, and we have implemented a lot of programs with Nehru Yuva Kendra and UNICEF. So my further talk, I come to the second part of my talk, where I will be just talking about some of the programs, because what we believe is empowerment becomes an empty slogan in the absence of awareness. Yes, and this is what we have tried to implement. Now, coming to the first program that we took, that was for the awareness programs for youth and adolescents. First one was the Deep Shikha program, in which I worked. Deep Shikha program, it was specially for girls. in which the young girls of the village were trained regarding, especially about the health of the women, and they worked with ASHA workers. Uh, uh, and they used to actually go from one house to the other, especially when they knew that there is a pregnant woman in some house. They used to go and monitor her diet, because we know the Indian ladies, though we are getting food, though we are getting medicines, but we are so lazy, we don't want to take care of ourselves. So this were the girls who were actually ambassadors, who were actually messengers. They went from one house to the other, making awareness among the women, and they were like reminding them, okay, did you have your iron tablet today? Or did you have your food today? What meal did you have? So they were there to monitor, because there are some still now the government has actually started taking care of the malnourishment and taking care of the pregnant ladies and taking care of the lactating mothers. But the people are not able to actually accept it. Now there was one more problem which was being solved by this Deep project, is encouraging institution deliveries, because the deliveries in the rural areas, they took place at home. And though there was awareness, but there were some stereotypes and due to the elders that say no, we don't want to go to a hospital. So this was again an awareness program in which the girls, along with the ASHA workers, they went on from going from one home to the other, always being in contact, always monitoring the pregnant ladies, always. So with this, the institution deliveries increased in the villages. The second one was lactating mothers, care of the lactating mothers. In India, there was a very big problem that the colostrum, that is the milk, the breast milk, which it is compulsory that within half an hour there should be breastfeeding for the newborn baby. That was not being done in India. So this was again a very important thing, the important change that we brought through this project. The second project that we worked with is the Sparsh. And this search was actually a development of youth, we can say. This mainly concentrated on bringing down the ratio of HIV/AIDS in Chandrapur, because Chandrapur is an industrial area where we have people coming from different parts of the country. We have coal reserves, we have cement plants, we have, in fact, the biggest power generation plant of Maharashtra. So due to all this due to this industrialization, there were people coming from different parts of the country. So somewhere AIDS was increasing in Chandrapur. So this workshop mainly concentrated on sex education for the youth, because the three main reasons for transmission of AIDS was, first was blood transfusion. The second was the AIDS being transmitted from a mother to the child, and the third was unsafe or unprotected sex. So this unprotected sex was something which had to be controlled, because the other two factors solutions were found out, but the third factor of unprotected sex, that was not being tolerated. So there in Sparsh, when the youth, they were actually trained about what is AIDS, how it is going to affect you, and about the sex education, about the contraception methods. So all this was again something that we could bring down. The third that we worked was self-help groups. The self-help groups, we know the Bachat Gat that we call in India. It is generally made for women, but here we concentrated on making self-help groups for girls. So this again helped. It was called as the Kishori Bachat Gat. So it worked similarly like the Bachat Gat or the self-help groups that we have with women, but it was again empowering for girls. And well, there are many more projects, but one last that I would like to mention here is regarding the micro planning in villages. Now, micro planning, that was a very powerful tool, we can say, that helped in developing the villages, because micro planning. So there, the planning was done for the villages by the people, means as we say of democracy, of the people, for the people, and by the people. So here the planning for development was done for the people and by the people. So the volunteers of NYK used to go to the villages, and they used to stay back there, because in villages most of them work in farms. Also in the daytime, it is very difficult to actually get people to meet and to meet them. So these volunteers used to actually stay back in the villages during the night. The people used to gather in the evenings, and we asked them, like, okay, what do you think is the problem of the villagers? And they came out with the problems. And when they came up with the problems, we try to solve. Like, for example, but yes, when they told about the problems, yes, sometimes in villages the problems were same, but the solutions were different for them. Because like in one of the villages, they said that they had a water scarcity problem. But when we had a look at the water resources, there we found that the water resources that they are having in their villages, it is actually sufficient for that village. But the thing is that they need to stop water wastage, and they need to save and conserve water. So when the steps were taken, so many of the problems were solved. So like this, in the micro planning, it was a very important tool. And this micro planning is it was implemented in Chandrapur as a pilot project, and now it has been adopted by the companies, by big companies. And a few years ago, even the interns from Columbia University were in Chandrapur, where they came to study micro planning especially, and we were in the remote areas, and I was there because the people coming from the other countries, of course, they are not aware of the regional languages. So I was there to do all the translation from the Marathi to English and all. So I was there, and that was again a very good experience, because the people from other countries have come to Chandrapur to study, to know about micro planning. Now, yes, this was some of the awareness program. So I would just like to mention the impact of awareness program. Yeah, the child marriages and child labor was decreased considerably in Chandrapur. The dropouts and out of school was reduced. Then infant mortality rate was reduced, and the number of health centers, sub centers, they have increased due to the National Rural Health Mission. And the primary schools have reached almost all the villages, and the number of youth pursuing higher education has also increased. And besides this, like I already told, the rate of HIV/AIDS was reduced, and this was all being done by the youth. Those were working with the help of the NGOs that were registered with Nehru Yuva Kendra, and this were some of the projects that were being implemented by the UNICEF. And all those youth, they were doing, they were not paid. Let me tell you, these youth were not paid. They were just given some training by Nehru Yuva Kendra and by UNICEF, and they were doing all this work voluntarily. Yes, this is the main, this is the important thing that I would like to tell. Even what I have done, sometimes like a trainer, or sometimes translating the reports from Marathi to English and forwarding it to UNICEF. So because of this, I was somewhere associated with this project. And I would just, while before concluding my talk, I would just like to tell some of the achievements that we could of all these projects, that nearly since 2004, nearly 6 girls have received Nav Jyoti Award for UNICEF. Now we know now means 9, and Jyoti means light. So everywhere UNICEF used to award 9 such girls who have actually tried to make their place among the adversities in their life. So they used to felicitate 9 such girls from all over Maharashtra, and we can proudly say that more than 6 girls from Chandrapur district. And because I can proudly say that these 6 girls have been awarded, because somewhere I was involved in drafting the story and forwarding it to UNICEF. And then one of my experiences, which I would like to tell, Durga Meshram, a girl from Balasha in the Chandrapur district, an international documentary film was made on her life, and a chapter of her life has been included in the value education books of the state syllabus. And this was actually the very first project in which I worked with UNICEF, because the director, Kamala Nelson, she was from Denmark, and I got a chance to work, and this was the very first project in which I was introduced to UNICEF. And besides that, the volunteers that I was talking about, these volunteers are now working as sarpanch, means the village heads, and they are being the leaders of the government bodies like National Rural Health Mission and all. And there are number of people. If we just go around Chandrapur in the villages, we can be like finding a number of youth volunteers who are either the members of the Gram Panchayat, or they are the members of the Panchayat Committee, and many of them are Sarpanch now. So these are all the volunteers those have worked. And yes, Chandrapur, again, it is called as an Naxalite area. So there are many Naxalites who have actually transformed and adopted social life. And they are again working very successfully among all in all these projects. And because we have many Indians over here, so let me tell you, some of the famous celebrities like Priyanka Chopra, Neetu Chandra, Swapnil Joshi, Gauri Kanik, they all have visited these villages to learn about the awareness activities in the remote areas of Chandrapur. And Swapnil Joshi, during the Navjyoti program, he has actually mentioned about this. So this was like, some of the things that which I had to share. So here, while going
Dr.
over this,
Anjum Joshi, I'm really sorry, actually, Dr. Anjum. Actually, we had been waiting for one more speaker right now. Actually.
okay, sorry, ma'am, sorry.
Really sorry. Actually, the time is little shortened by sir. Actually, we have to
Okay.
limit that. Actually,
Okay,
I'm
however,
really sorry,
I'll
but,
finish.
the more we give importance to skill development, the more competent will be our youth. That is what we understand. That is a reflection what you actually have put to all of us. And you spoke so well about the girls, especially the girls' empowerment and the girl child education. Everything was really highlighted over here. Your highlighted points will be taken into account, ma'am. But we have one question for you at the end.
Yeah.
Kindly wait, ma'am. Yeah. Next, I would like to introduce the third speaker of the day, Dr. Pooja Dixit Joshi. Dr. Pooja Dixit Joshi, we would like to have you on the dais to share your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much, Sonal ma'am, for inviting me on this platform and sharing my thoughts on a wonderful topic, which is really to talk about more the youth. And today I was just listening to my co-friends that they have talked about how the skill development is required, how training is required. So today I will focus on the individuality of a youth, that how much we need to give importance to oneself and how awareness is going to make a difference in the life of the youth. We know the word biggest power is the youth. Youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. So today's youth want to stand on their feet and live a life of pride and dignity. Now, talking about the empowerment, we know that giving them the power. Now, the question arises how we can give them the power. So we can give them the power by integrating their creativity, by providing them energy and the power to make their own decisions. And then what Modi ji is talking about, making them self-reliant. This is the need of the hour. The youth can change the world. We all know. But how? This is the question. Then the answer to this question is that we need to give them that kind of responsibility, that you need to chase your dreams. You need to show yourself. You need to be the best version of yourself. So this can be done through respective things. Now, talking about that empowerment is just not giving the power to make decisions. It is like recognizing them, releasing into the organization the power of knowledge and motivation. So we require training. We need to give them the knowledge to get empowered. Now, people to be empowered have to realize their identity and power. That if they've been given power, that how to balance that. Again, there are a number of factors. We need to talk about the political, we need to talk about the economical as well as the culture. So the power has to be balanced, the knowledge has to be balanced, the resources have to be balanced, and the greater autonomy in the decision making is required. Greater plan, how they can execute in their lives, greater control over the circumstances. We have a number of factors. We know the startups, the entrepreneurship, which is then again the talk of the town, that influence each of us. We all are educators, we have come from different angles. Now we are having these online things. Again, we are empowering each other. So we need to have that kind of mindset. We need to empower each other. Now, this IDYM is creating is one of the best example of empowering each other. We have experienced teachers, we have experienced educators, students also are part of this organization, and we know Ken asked me who is holding the entire thing, and he is holding this. So this is the best example. So empowerment motivates the beneficiaries and it gives a positive influence on the personality of the person. We get competent about the skills. We make development in our personality. It makes our life more purposeful and meaningful. Empowerment is a very big term. It's a process. It doesn't come in a day or a two. It's a process, and we keep on learning it. It can make wonders over a night. It can if we are consistent in our work. And this is the youth need to remember. It is very, very much important that you need to be consistent. You need to chase your dream. So, talking about here, I will talk that the open mindset. Open mindset again plays a very important role. Magic can be created if you are open to the new ideas. You are not rigid. Rigidity will not make you work. So the present youth, I've been teaching in colleges, I've been teaching in school. So what we do, we give them we throw an idea to them, and then they come out with their creativity. And we have seen number of times that how impactful their decision have been because their mindset is working in different direction. They think in the different perspective. They will think something out of their box. So again, we need to empower our youth by embracing their thoughts. We should listen to them more carefully. We should have more good discussions with them in classes as well as where we get the chance. Again, like Manthan is one of the program which has been started by Idym. So these kind of a thing will help the youth to become a better version of themselves. Now, talking about that, there are agencies, the government agencies are working on that. Different NGOs are working on that. So there are three things, the three Ds, ma'am. I would like to explain that: dream, dare, and determination. First, you need a dream. Everyone has a dream. If you close your eyes and think about you want to dwell to look like anything, so the dream should be a spark in them, and that is going to motivate them. Second, the dare, the encouragement to share your dream with others, to speak up for your dreams, to get out there. That will work. And the third is the determination. That this is, I have to do this. I have to be very well focused. I have to be consistent in my work. And here I would like to give an example of Nike 25 years long back. They come in with a campaign to just do it campaign. And these three words, ma'am, just do it. Like it has make a miracle. It brought about a key change in all the sectors. So we need to understand that we need to keep going. We need to work upon ourselves. We need to prepare our youth for the wise and correct decisions. We need to give them that kind of encouragement, that kind of value system we need to develop in them. Practice virtue, preserve in virtue, become established in virtue. You will shine like a diamond. And you need to again and again imbibe these thoughts. Youth life is the active development and the fulfillment of these processes. Empowering youth engagement in society is done by various institutions in the society. We have religion, we have education institutions, we have financial institutions. Everywhere we can get empowered. But we need to create that good environment that provides an opportunity for the youth leadership, as well as providing all the policies and programs that encourage participation in the society. We know that there are various addictions for today's youth. So again, that addiction has to be tackled in a very wisely. We are not going to number of families, number of cases are there where you will find that the student, that the youngster is going through some kind of addiction. So that has to be tackled in a very wisely form. We need to focus on their mindset. We need to tell them that you are an active member of the society. You can bring about a change. So we need to create a favorable environment. Again, I would like to quote that brings an opportunity for the youth, that we're bringing them this, talking about this more skill development. Education plays a very important role indeed. As Anju ma'am have also mentioned, Nana ma'am has also mentioned. So again, we need to focus on that. These are the assets. Education is the tool that bring about a change. Now, next, talking about that, we need to tell them that you have weaknesses. you have strength also. You need to check your strength. You need to work upon your weaknesses. Youth has to make a right choices. They have to prioritize their thing. Uh, they need to ask for the advices from their experts, from their elders. Then only they can succeed. They need to stand by their choices, and that will increase their confidence. You will depend on, they have to depend on others for some time. Then, because with with the experience of their elderly people, they can come out with the solutions to the problem. Then the major point I would like to focus here, the feedback. The feedback plays a very important role in getting in accepting what we are not doing. When we get a good feedback, then we can work on ourselves where we are lagging behind, and then it will make us more responsible also. So again, it starts from the mindset. We need to keep experimenting ourselves. We need to learn to ever experiment, and every minute is a chance to change oneself. So here I would like to quote a few lines for the youth is that if I fail or succeed a lot, I will live as I believe, and no matter what they take from me, they can't take my dignity. So I have learned to depend on me. So you have to work on yourself. There's nobody who can take your lead. This is you are going to take your life ahead. So be competent enough, be courageous enough, and committed to lead your future, because the great achievement can happen only on and only when you are working for yourself. So to create an environment, to create a community, a sustainable community, we need to come together, we need to join hand together and empower each other. So the more we are creative, we need to make our youth creative, independent, optimistic, and ambitious, resourceful, which is very good for becoming a self-reliant. So, as I just mentioned, education is essential for ensuring all the segments of the society benefiting from the macroeconomic growth. And when a person is educated, you can see the difference between a maid and an educated teacher. We all have the maids, but their mindset varies. They work on a limited thing. So the fundamental thing is that for the survival, we need to work on a person. So with this, I would like to conclude my thing. Thank you once again, Sonal ma'am and Idym for giving me this platform.
Really so much, this was really a pack of, like, I don't know, it's like, the whole of the pack which I wanted to have. The conclusion was really too good. All the three speakers did so well. I'm so happy, actually. You spoke about the dream, dare, determination part, which was extraordinary. You spoke about the practicing virtues part, which was really very important, which is missing these days, actually. And yeah, being consistent will help them to win. That is really very true. This is not existing anymore. They are jumping, they're hopping, they're not concentrating. Yes, feedback plays a very important role, as you said, because this is a self-assessment. You should analyze it. You should analyze yourself, how you are, then only you can improve and become the best, actually. And yes, competent, courageous, self-reliant India. This is what we are looking out for ahead. So I hope so, the points which you all have said. Now I have a question for each one of you. Just can you just let me know, Professor Dr. over here? I would like to ask first to Miss Rania. Miss Rania, do you think that today's youth what is your highlighting, like, the one message for today's youth? What should be your one message for today's youth?
Okay, I believe that youth needed to translate unmet needs in their communities into viable and sustainable generating opportunities for themselves and others. They need targeted support. They need relevant business frameworks, mentorship, expert insight, funding, partners, and more. Because youth empowerment through social innovation and entrepreneurship has incredible potential to solve problems at the grassroots level if youth are given robust platforms to connect and act. So by
Oh.
equipping young people with skills, resources, and networks they need to solve problems in the communities, I think we will be able to form this way of the future leaders.
And Dr. Anjum Qureshi, what is your one message to today's youth?
So one message to today's youth, I think sometimes I just suggest 3 C's: competency, confidence, and character.
Yeah.
So this is somewhere the students, youth should try to remember about this. That's all.
Dr. Pooja, your turn. What message
Do
to
a
you?
good deed, stand up and lead. Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there's no path and leave a trail.
Wow, fantastic. I would like to invite Dr. Betkar, Dr. Professor Betkar over here. I wanted his insight over here for today's show. Dr. Betkar, I know you have seen the whole show. You had been listening all throughout us. So can you let me know how was the show today? Dr. Betkar? Professor?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I'm audible. Good evening.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, principal.
There is some disturbance, Dr. Betkar.
Is it audible, madam?
Yeah, but it's not that.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. It's audible. Audible. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are not able to get.
Madam?
I think some technical problem
Some
from side.
Some technical problem, Dr. Betkar. Professor, there is some problem. Actually, we are not able to hear anything. No, we cannot hear even a single word actually. Some disturbance, I don't know what is that. Okay, anyways, I would like to really, first thing is, I would like to thank Mr. Ravi, Dr. Ravi over here. If Dr. Ravi wouldn't have been there, IDYF wouldn't have been there, wouldn't have been on this platform actually. So my gratitude to him, and really this show is a need of the time now. So we did it really well. And you all, I'm telling you, you have expressed it so well. Education was involved. The empowerment of girls was involved. Today's youth and their vision was involved. So everything, all 3 speakers have really actually laid your roads, and now only the youth has to walk to empower themselves. If their vision is right, I think they will 100% be successful in life. This is 100% sure.
I think their vision should be clear, ma'am. If the vision is clear, the goal is clear, then they can plan it ahead.
Yes, I really agree. But we should have, we should have our short-term and long-term goals, which I always say that everybody should know this about themselves. And self-assessment is very much important to empower ourselves. That I always say, you always have to need to recorrect again and again. We all are not perfect over here. You all are, after all, humans. So, as human, we have to do self-assessment and recorrection again and again, so that we become the best. We try to win. We try to achieve. We become successful. That's all is our motive. After all, we have to become self-reliant. That's the main motive, what you said actually. So thank you, all of you. Wonderful speaking over here. Wonderful show over here. Thank you so much. I don't know what was the problem with Dr. Betkar. We couldn't get connected to him. There was so much of disturbance actually. I wanted to know his insight actually. It's okay, not a problem. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Sonal ma'am. Thank you, Rana ma'am and Anju ma'am.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.